I actually wanted to be 100% sure, so I looked up the definition of the word terrorism. I was like, it's time, I'm gonna look it up. I want to find out what it is they've been saying I do this whole time, you know? And I looked up the definition of terrorism. It'll blow your mind. The definition of terrorism is using violence to achieve a political goal. Oh, America's never done that. I laughed out loud when I saw that definition. If the definition of terrorism is using violence to achieve a political goal, America is the biggest terrorist country of all time. Of all time. If that offends you, change the definition or change history, okay? Because that is what we specialize in. That is what we specialize in. And I noticed that when I say this in the United States, people kind of, they get a little taken back. You know, they're like, ah, I'm not a terrorist. Don't call me a terrorist. Stop calling me a terrorist. I am not a terrorist. And it's like, relax, I'm not calling you a terrorist. I'm not saying that you're a terrorist, okay? I'm simply saying that you're a terrorist sympathizer, okay? That's all I'm saying. You're a terror simp, as the kids would say. You're out there simping for the tea. Yeah. Listen, it doesn't have to conflict you internally. You can be aware that if you live in the United States, you're part of a global terror regime. You can be aware of that. It doesn't mean you can't love your country and not want to make it better. In fact, I argue that you cannot make your country better unless you actually know about the dirty shit we do overseas. I argue that you don't actually love your country if you can't call us a terrorist, okay? Because you gotta know who you love. You gotta love who you know. And this doesn't have to like change your internal value structure. Like if you still want to use the word terrorist, you can, but you gotta use it consistently, right? Like if you want to call a one-person suicide bomber, or as I call them, a one-man band, if you want to call them a terrorist, that's fine, okay? But then you also have to call the drones dropping bombs on entire nations terrorism as well. Because it's all terrifying to the people who receive it. I mean, at least give the small guy credit for acting locally. I thought we support small businesses. You gotta admit, they're more creative, that's for sure. That's why it's called terrorists. It's terror artists. It's a ist. It's a ist. It's like a barista, terrorista. You know what I mean? How do you want your terrorism, grande, right? Like, it's a f***ed up word to use when we use the word terrorist. It's very hypocritical for us to use in the West if you know anything about our history. But the word terrorist is also racist. It's also racist. And if you don't believe me, it's very quick little proof. Okay, just close your eyes for one moment. Okay, I'm not gonna blow myself up. That's not the point of them. You're looking at me like, no. That's not like, and boom, and now you get it. And that's not what I was trying to do. Okay, if you're not scared, if you can just close your eyes for a moment. Okay, all right. Now I'm gonna say the word terrorist. What do you see? You're racist, exactly. So that was simple. Most of us saw the same guy, okay? And don't worry, it's not your fault, you know? The media has trained you to see it that way. And so I invite you from now on, when you hear the word terrorist, I want you to look at who they're talking about. Whether it's in the media or casually in conversation, look at who people are talking about. It's almost always going to be the same type of person. It's gonna be brown skin, Middle Eastern, Muslim person, or Luigi for some reason. It's gonna be, they threw Luigi in there. They're just like, whatever, they all use olive oil or whatever, so. And yes, occasionally people do call Trump supporters terrorists, but they call them domestic terrorists. You know what I mean? Like they're the domesticated ones. And we're like the wild ones out here, you know? We're like the feral terrorists, you know? It's like, we're the terrorists, you know? It's messed up. It's messed up. But it's definitively a racist word. Case in point, in this country we have mass shootings. That's like our national sport right now, okay? We're killing it. No, we We are now at the point where we have shooters of all races, so we do believe in DEI shooting, okay? Celebrate the victories if you wish, but yeah, so occasionally you will have a Muslim shooter, and when you do, what happens in the media? They drop that T word so fast, right? They're like, this was an act of terror, or was he part of ISIS, or has he been radicalized? Like, don't bring math into this, okay? Okay, leave math out of this, okay? But then when you have a white shooter, which we do occasionally, let's be honest, you just don't hear that T word. You just don't hear that T word. What do you hear? He was a lone wolf, you know? Or he was a man on a mission. Yeah, a man had a manifesto, you know? Or mental health is important. Let's talk about mental health awareness. And it's like, yay, good job. Good job for finally realizing that mental health is important. Congratulations, America. I'm glad you finally realized that it actually matters that we have a healthy mind. Congratulations. Good job. No, seriously, good job. Mental health is very important. It is. Mental health is extremely important, and I'm glad that we are finally embracing it. But why is mental health only coming up when we're talking about white villains? Okay? Why can we not equally apply the concept of mental health to our fellow brown villains, who also could use the therapy? Okay? And I know, some of you think I'm just calling racist for no reason. I assure you, I would not just call racist if I didn't have a punchline, okay? This is a real point I'm making. I'll ask you this. Have you ever in your entire life heard this? You know, Osama bin Laden, did he have like depression or something? Maybe it was like seasonal affective disorder. That's why he was so sad. He wasn't getting enough sun. You know what? September is now Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's never forget. September is now Mental Health Awareness Month. Yeah, somebody should have checked in on Saddam more often, you know? Maybe if Saddam had more friends, it would have like lifted his mood a little bit, you know? Like, call your friends today before they become the next Saddam, you know? No, you don't hear anything remotely close to that, okay? Meanwhile, there's like 3,000 documentaries like, was Hitler okay? Like, shut the up, dude. Shut the up. Stop making documentaries about Hitler's mind, okay? At least make a few about Osama, you know? But it's a racist word. And you can ask anybody who looks like me, or anybody in this category, we don't even feel comfortable getting angry in public because people see that terrorist trope in us. We don't have the same freedom to public bursts of outrage like the rest of y'all. Yeah. I'd like to take this moment to give a special shout out to white women, okay? Yeah, I see what you do. No shade, it's admirable. I see you out there showing your anger in public, you know what I mean? Asking for upper management when you can. You're out there working. I'm jealous. I believe that is the level that we should all aspire to and that we could all be one day as a society. I believe that. I do. And that's my goal. I want to be a Middle Eastern man, Karen. I do. Yeah. I want to be a Kareem, okay? Yeah. I believe I can be a Kareem, okay? But right now I feel a little limited, you know? Because if I'm in line at the bank and the line's too long, and just like anybody else, I get angry at the line being too long, you know, just like we all do. I can't show it, because if I show it, I'm like, fuck this place, man. Fuck this place, man. Fuck this place. Somebody's gonna see like, oh. If you see something, say something. I see the terrorist coming. He probably wants to blow himself up and blow this whole place up. And it's like, I do, but I'm not going to, okay? I just have the thought like a normal human being does. What normal human being doesn't want to blow themselves up at the bank, okay? It's a normal human emotion and I'm allowed to have it. Okay? It's messed up because this trope makes it seem like we are angrier than other people, okay? We are not angrier than other people, man. We just have weird shaped eyebrows, so it reads a little differently, okay? That's all it is. It's eyebrowism, it is. Isn't that messed up? How much eyebrows relate to terrorism? Look at Luigi. Look at those eyebrows. Look at those eyebrows. Isn't that messed up? The difference between a terrorist and just an angry guy is plucking. It's so messed up. We gotta pluck and wax our way out of this, is what we gotta do. I hope you do understand why the word terrorist is racist. And people try to flip it. They'll be like, how come every time there's a terrorist, it's a Muslim? Because you fucking call them that, motherfucker. You're the fucking one out there perpetuating that. So really, we have two options at this point to make the word unracist. We can either call everyone a terrorist equally, anybody who does a violent act, and you're a terrorist, and you're a terrorist, and you're a terrorist, and you're a terrorist, and you're a terrorist. You know? And if that doesn't work, jihad. But I'm kidding. There's one more option before that. The other option, which I like and I think we could try, is we take the word terrorist back and make it cool. Who's with me, kids? Come on. Yeah. Where my terrorists at? Come on. Where my terrorists at? Yeah. Good. I love that's the sound. That's the call of the wild right there. Yeah. I can sense there's people skeptical. They're like, this is not gonna work. Listen, let's take notes, okay? Let's take notes. Black people did it with the N-word. They made it work, okay? Yeah. Oh, uncomfortable white crowd. I see. Oh, yeah. It's true. They made it work. They took the word back. They made it work. We might have to cut off the hard T at the end, okay? Take notes, right? Like, what's up, my terrorists? You know, does that make it? My terrorist, please. You know what I mean? Like, we can make rap songs like Terrorists in Paris. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that one's too real. I'm sorry. That was too real. Okay. Right? Or if you don't like that, we can make it more like a record scratch, like terror. Or, you know, Gen Z will come through. Like, I got killer charisma. It's terroriz. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So we got options. And if those don't work, jihad. But we got options. But yes, so the word terrorist is hypocritical, it's racist, but that's not even my biggest problem with the word terrorist. My biggest problem with the word terrorist is that it is too often used by the Western world to excuse the killing of civilians. I want you to become aware of this. Look at the war on terror. What was that in effect, right? And it's not over. It's still going on right now. You know, Israel does this on a daily basis. Like, Israel will level an entire apartment complex. And we'll all see it. It's not like we don't see this. We all see the video footage. We'll see them level an entire apartment complex, killing families, like verified and reported, well, not reported, but verified civilian families. And we'll all see it, and every human being, it doesn't matter what your politics are, you all have the same gut reaction, like, what the fuck? You cannot be a human being and see that and not be like, what the fuck, right? All Israel has to do at that point is just be like, oh no, we were targeting the terrorists. They always say it like a toddler for some reason, like, the terrorists were in there. Mom, the terrorists. We were getting the terrorists! Mom, the terrorists! And it's like, no, you did not get the terrorists, okay? You did not get the widow rabbit, the terrorists. You killed civilians, okay? You killed civilians. You killed children, dude. You killed children. And yeah, I don't like children that much either, but you can't fucking do that, man. Yes, kids can like make a mess sometimes. They can be little terrorists. They can like knock over things, come into a room and just mess it up. Especially the 2-year-olds, the terrorist 2s. I understand. Kids can be little terrorists, okay? But these little terrorists deserve to live, man, okay? And I know people get uptight when I talk about this stuff. Like, oh, you're just gonna make jokes about terrorism? You're just gonna make jokes about bombs and people dying? Like, yeah, the f*** I am, dude. The f*** I am. You think I'm just gonna see this shit and not talk about it? It is not normal. We cannot just continue to let this shit happen. It is not normal. We have to talk about it. And you know what? I'm gonna make jokes about it. I'm gonna make jokes specifically. You wanna know why I'm gonna make jokes? Because jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. Did you know that? Jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. And you know who said that? I did right now. I said it right now. Jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. They're right up there with water balloons, you know? You'd be surprised what people would laugh at in terms of intelligence. So often in comedy, we see people like going the other way, like to make it more accessible to the lowest common denominator, which ironically is a smart term. But at the same time, you can play to the top of the room, and yes, you will lose some people at the bottom. However, there's this effect when the smarter people are laughing at a joke and other people, they see like, I want to be a part of this. Ha ha ha! And then they just start laughing. They kind of get why it's funny, even though they don't get it. You know?
Right. And so the top of the room would be the numerator?
That's right. That's right.
Are you ready for the KHÓI Comedy Podcast? Yeah! And now your host. Give it up for Sammy Obeid.
Hey, everyone. How we doing?
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Thanks so much for joining. So we have an amazing program for you tonight. It's going to be an interview with the great Daya Lakshmi Narayanan. I've known her since when I started comedy, and I was always inspired by how smart she writes. And I always noticed that she was getting work from it. So I was like, I got to copy that. So I'm a hack. I'm a hack, but I'm the host. So everybody welcome my friend, Daya Lakshmi Narayanan.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining, Daya. So just let's get right to it so everybody knows. How many letters in your last name?
16.
16. And there's a math word for that too, that you know, for like a 16-sided shape. What is it?
It's because it's 16 characters. I just call it my hexadecimal last name.
That's a smart joke right there.
Well, thank you, because nobody laughed except for you. So I appreciate it was smart, but not well liked. Like
right,
me.
But no, that is not true at all, Daya. You are definitely well liked. That's why we got 26 people in here, and last time we only had 25. So you have taken us up a notch. We're improving our game. Thank you for being here. Sorry, I always gotta like ask technical questions. Sam, are we both spotlit? Because it looks like we're in floating mode right now.
Yes, you're both spotlit.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet. So Daya, thanks so much for joining. I always admire you have a very well thought out Zoom background. Because I remember I did shows with you like one of the first weekends we were doing Zoom, and like you had like a nice layout of pillows, and now you have like a different look. Is it like leopard or something?
I don't know exactly what animal this is, but it's artificial material. But I decided to change up the pillow game because I want to keep people on their toes or on their butts as we do on Zoom.
And it's all vegan, right? All vegan. No cheese.
All vegan. No animals were harmed. So thank you for admiring the pillow and background game. I have
mathematical.
I have a special glass for you. It's my Netflix glass, Sammy. So congratulations on your show.
Thank you. I have a regular mug for you. Congratulations on drinking water. See, that's how you know me and Daya are nerds. We both got cups of water at a comedy program. So Daya, we met in, I believe, 2008, which was essentially within my first year of comedy. We were doing the Rooster T. Feathers comedy competition together. And we were in the semifinal round together. I don't know if you remember any of this, but I'm recounting it either way.
Go ahead.
We were in the semifinal round together. And I brought a lot of friends. I don't know if you brought people or not, but we both had good sets. But I had a good set because I brought a lot of friends. And I went up in the middle. It went well. And then you went up at the end and just crushed it. And you closed with this joke about calculus. And I was just like, my mind was blown because I didn't know you could talk about calculus at a comedy show. Like I thought that was forbidden, you know? because I grew up on like raunchy comedy, and I was a math major, and I was like, wow, I'm really making a career shift, because I was just like humping stools at that point, you know. I mean, like I was doing them at like certain angles. Like I was using my math degree for like the velocity of it, but like,
Right.
I didn't.
You need to get the fulcrum correct when you're humping
Exactly.
the stool. It's yeah.
If you don't get that fulcrum right, you're falling on your ass, and and then the stool's fucking you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you did a calculus joke at the end, and I was just like, whoa, you can talk about math and get laughs. And little did you know, you opened up Pandora's box, and now a lot of people hate me for it. But I am working. I'm getting work thanks to you, Dia. So I just want to say thank you for that. And you inspired me very early on in my career.
Thank you, Sammy. That's actually not how we met, but thank you for creating that memory. That was a beautiful memory.
How did we meet? Did we meet like a mic before that or something?
I was at the Punchline, and you came up to me and you said, I heard you went to MIT. I'm a math major. And then I said, where did you go to school? And you said, Berkeley. And I said, I have to go get a drink now. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Sammy.
Wow. I think I must have blocked it out of my memory because I got dogged so hard.
No. Actually, we became writing partners very soon after that. So that was a good opening line.
Definitely. Well, we did the comp, and then we started writing together after, just because I remember the comp ended in like mid 2008. I've got these new earbuds and they're falling out. The comp ended in mid 2008. I remember by the end of 2008, we were writing together, and you always had great tag ideas. I remember like you gave me like one of the best tag ideas early on in my career that I later went on. I won the San Jose Improv competition off of that joke alone. Like that was the joke where the audience was like, this guy's a genius. And I'm like, that's actually Dia's tag.
It's all you, Sammy. It couldn't have worked for me. So, I mean, that's the great thing about having a writing partner. You give people things that work for them that you don't necessarily want for yourself. So it's really give and take. And you gave me tags too. I was doing a joke about public transit in the city, and your tag for me was nutsack of noon, taint of twilight. So I appreciate your tags as well, Sammy.
See, I was such an evolved comedian at such an early age. Wow. So, and I think this is that, we're already at a great point here, is that, two minds are better than one in most, non-degenerate cases. And I think that's a great writing tip, because, your friends, especially people who you have good chemistry with, or like know your material, they can see things that you don't, and you can do the same for them. And so, combined, you have this synergy effect, which can make your material smarter. It's just like when you put people like in a group, like a big group, like they get smarter because, isn't there some kind of like theory behind that? You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes when you put people together, they all think the same, and it's called groupthink, and that's bad.
That's not good.
But sometimes when
there's another one.
Gangbang? Is that what the hell?
Yes. The nutsack of noon and the taint of time is the gangbang. Yes.
Taint of twilight.
Twilight, yes. Twilight's kind of a smart word, so I guess that wasn't that bad.
No, it was a good joke. It was a good joke.
So there is, just gonna be with my right ear today. So the my left ear fell out, but I still have my right ear.
Overly committed to it.
Right smarter. So anyways, thank you, that was for you guys. Sometimes you put people together, they become dumber, but there is something about like a collective intelligence that I've noticed in comedy specifically, because people would often say this to me. They'll be like, your comedy's smart. And I just be like, well, I thought my comedy was like regular. I thought I was just doing like regular comedy. But like when you tell a joke to one person who doesn't get the smart joke, it's like you feel like an idiot. Like you feel like you wrote a bad joke. But then you tell it to a room, and a bunch of people who get it laugh. And then there's a lot of people who like, they wouldn't have got it if those people weren't there, but they see why those people appreciate it. And it almost makes them smarter. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you ever like observed that effect in stand-up?
Yeah, Yeah, so there's a couple of things. I think that some comedians, when they do smart material or material that means something to them, the expectation is that the audience rises to the occasion, that you're not dumbing it down. They have to meet you. So they have to do a little bit of effort to meet you to be able to understand the joke. I do want to add, though, there is a component of gender, because if you look up smart comedian, it's Norm Macdonald, Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, Anthony Jeselnik. I think all of these people are really, really funny and very smart. And if you're a woman, Michelle Wolf, Samantha Bee, Wanda Sykes, and if you tell a smart joke, the expectation is you should not go over their heads because the audience won't be able to get it. So there is a component of gender, there is a component of race, but most of the time, if you can get the audience to meet you and do a little work for it, then they feel satisfied. They feel like they got something out of it that they normally wouldn't have get if they were spoon-fed something.
That's a great way of putting it. And another way that you can say it is like playing to the top of their intelligence.
Yeah. When
you play to the top of the room's intelligence, it actually like trickles down somehow to everybody else. So yeah, that's one thing to note. People, like, I was always surprised, and this is an example of what I said about you earlier. I was always surprised early on in comedy about like things that I would have thought would have been too smart for a comedy room actually get huge laughs. And of course, it depends on where you are. Like, yes, I'm talking about times when we were in the Silicon Valley where there's a lot of, relatively smart people. We also performed at the Punchline in San Francisco, like a lot of smart people there. But still, like, you'd be surprised what people would laugh at in terms of intelligence. I mean, same thing other way around, like Nutsack and Tate. Like, you'd be surprised at what people think is funny. But like, it goes both ways. And just so often in comedy, we see people like going the other way, like the dumber way, to make it more accessible to the lowest common denominator, which ironically is a smart term. But at the same time, you can play to the top of the room, and yes, you will lose people. You will lose some people at the bottom. However, there's this effect when people, like I was saying earlier, when the smarter people are laughing at a joke, and other people, like, they see why they appreciate it, they laugh along. And there's also people who are like, I want to be a part of this, ha ha ha, and then they just start laughing, and then they kind of get why it's funny, even though they don't get it. So everybody kind of becomes smarter.
Right. And so the top, I guess, would be the top of the room would be the numerator. So
that's right.
So
yeah, play to the numerator.
Yeah. So I think the reason, if people do smart comedy or what they deem as smart comedy, we need to define that term, because I think that the term is general. So we should define it for the 15 people who are slogging through this evening. But I think that one of the interesting things about that is nobody wants to feel dumb. Nobody wants to feel mansplained or smart person splained to. No one wants to feel like they're an idiot and that people are looking down on them. What people want is that they want to feel like they're part of this group that's in group, and that they feel lucky to be a part of this group, and we're sharing a laugh. This means we're all in this together, and we have some pro-social value to that. So if you can inspire people to be part of your group, and oh wow, we all get this joke together, we're in on it, then that's inspirational and aspirational. But if you put people down and make them feel like idiots, then they're going to be resentful of you. So it's that delicate balance of how to talk about things that you feel are important without alienating people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so in a sense, it's kind of like playing smarter is always to your advantage. And comedy, I mean, in a sense, comedy is inherently smart, right? Like, to understand a joke, you have to use some sort of intelligence. So that's why people like it, because they have to think like just at least a little bit to get it, right?
I think there's some instances, not to contradict the theme of this great session you put together, Sammy, there's some instances where writing smarter doesn't help. I've done a few weeks on cruise ships, and oh my God, did I have to throw away every single thing I wrote about race, politics, religion, feminism. I mean, these people are like sunburnt, drunk, from the middle of America. They've never seen an Indian person before. They've gone to the buffet 7 times. The last thing they want to do is think. They want aloe vera gel for their burnt skin. So they don't want what I have to offer them. So it doesn't help you to play smart sometimes.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree, and I would say, like, I guess it depends how smart we're talking, because, you know, I was actually doing some cruises in the last years, as they say, of comedy, and I noticed the same thing. You can't go too highbrow with those cruise crowds. However, they did appreciate. Not everybody, but there was a lot of people who did appreciate some level of smarts, but you couldn't let them know that you're too smart, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. If you show people that you're not that smart, if you be like, these specific crowds, just be like, hey, listen, I'm smarter than you, but I'm aware of it, so I'm going to give you this level of smart. And they're like, I respect you for that, you know? Because if you come out there like at your actual intelligence, they're like, what is this person? Are they from the future? This is a cruise. We're still in 1950. So yeah, but totally understand what you're saying. And that's, I mean, you know, not just cruises, clubs everywhere, right? Middle America, you know, bars, which we've done a ton of.
Right. Well, so, I think one of the important parts of that is when people think of, oh wow, you know, you're writing smart comedy, or you wrote that joke about calculus or whatnot. By the way, Nutsack of Noon and Taint of Twilight is alliteration, so that's a valid literary reference. So that is smart. So I think when you write smart comedy, what people notice is they notice the writing. However, it takes so much work as a performer to be able to sell that writing. You can't just get on stage and tell the smart joke. You have to have some nuance. You have to be able to, I mean, it's, Vishal is on this call, and I think I said to him once when he asked me about this, hey, Vishal, Vishal asked me the same question, and I said, it's basically like seduction. You can't go in front of the audience and be like, here's my nutsack of noon. You have to be able to somehow seduce the audience to be able to get them to see your point of view. And that's what performance is. So you can't just be like, look what I got. I got a protractor in my pants. You have to lead them along. You have to give them some gentle kisses. You have to tell them they're pretty. And then you can get them to do what you want them to do.
Wow, that is very nice. Like seduction. I've never heard it like that, but 100% true. I never knew that I've seduced so many Middle Americans. So Daya, can I ask how long you've been doing comedy for at this point?
Well, over a decade now.
Well, yeah, me too. I started after you. Greater than, less than, greater than. So you have to be at least 13 years.
Yeah, I think we started around the same time, but yeah, probably like between 10 to 12, I thought. But you know, okay. I'm not the math
13.
person.
No, we've definitely been around for 13 years, but it might
okay.
Like 13-ish, I guess.
Okay.
So, how often do you write?
Yeah, this is an interesting question because when we first started, I think that there was this real kind of urge to tell people what kind of things who they were based on how much they were writing. So there's this real sense of like, you gotta grind, you gotta hustle, you gotta kill, you gotta murder, and now in retrospect, all of that just feels so toxic and just masculine to me. I mean, look at me, I look like a sassy stewardess. I'm not masculine at all. Like that kind of terminology doesn't work for me. And so, you know, the Venn diagram between comedians and athletes is separated by kilometers. So we don't really have people who train their bodies who are comics, unless it's Joe Rogan. And please don't make me talk about him on this podcast. But what I'm saying is when athletes train, rest day is really important for them, or they cross train, or they do yoga, or they foam roll, or do something else besides the right, grind, hustle, do it. This is the way to do it. So I write something every day and I cross train. I'm either writing stories for the Moth. I'm working on my writing gig that pays me money. I'm finishing my samples, my pilot, my screenplay. I'm writing jokes for the stage. I'm doing something, and then some days I rest. So I don't think that there's only one way to do it, and that one way is the societal specific way that unless you're doing it this way, you're not valid, and that's not real work.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I would say amen, but God's a woman. That's what she said. All right. So I mean that's so well put. Like, diversify your portfolio. You know, the best writer is one who can write in many forms. And not to mention, it's like when the incentive for you to write more is there, you're going to write more. So what for me is incentivizing, and it sounds like the same for you, is just like mixing it up. Like, I get bored of doing the same thing every day. Like if somebody told me I had to write puns every day, I would hate puns. Right? But no, people tell me stop writing puns, so I just keep writing more, you know?
I have an example. I had this friend a long time ago. I'm not going to say his name, but he had a boyfriend, and he told me, he goes, Daya, my boyfriend and I are going to try to have sex every single day. And I was like, let me know how it goes. And then after 3 months, he goes, this was the worst experiment that I ever did in my life. We're going to discontinue the experiment, because they thought that it was going to be fun. But at the end of that 3-month mark, they're like, why did we do this? This was dumb. This is taking all the joy out of it.
Yeah.
Right. That's you have to keep it interesting for yourself, because people will so often ask me, like, how often do you write? Like, you make yourself write every day? Like, no, I make it interesting, because if you live an interesting life, there's so much to write about every single day. You go to the store and the cashier says something to you that, like, they're like, hey, can you help me bag? Like, yes, I do. This is a great joke. I work here now, you know? Like, if you go through something traumatic, which everybody does every week, like, write about it. Like, there's so much, and that's the beautiful thing about comedy. You can transmute any painful experience into writing. So really, like, when you're using writing therapeutically, there's no limit to how much you want to write for your own personal gain, if you will.
There's no limit, but it can be derivative.
Yes, it can. It can. Yes. Very well said.
I think also writing is not just like being on the laptop or taking out a pen and writing in your notebook. Sometimes writing is reviewing the set that you recorded that you said that you were going to look at, but you just are too afraid to look at it. Sometimes writing is being able to look at other comics who you admire and watch their set and be inspired by it. Sometimes writing is
and write
taking
down their jokes. Yeah.
Like you did to me. Sometimes writing is really having a life outside of the grind, being able to spend time with people you love, being able to eat food that you like, have an experience in the world, talk to someone at a bar that you've never talked to. Unless you have a rich life, you're writing about things that are so boring that you're not actually bringing any insight to the stage. And you can't do that just isolated, sitting in one place, just with your thoughts all the time. You have to have some kind of external stimulus or inputs to be able to make the output work.
So that's why, like, you're hanging out with friends. They're like, wow, Di, you're so social. Like, no, you're just my external stimuli.
Actually they are. Because, I mean, right now, because I don't have access to a lot of open mics, I do call some of my friends. I was like, can I run this by you? I have a bit. Do you think this is funny? And you know, and I have friends who aren't sick of me yet, but you kind of need to know how it lands with people and what people are thinking. I thought I was going to write this really brilliant joke about suicide, and one of my friends was like, "Bro, no, please don't do that. That's terrible." So I was like, "I'm so sorry. I won't do it." But you know, maybe I will in the future.
Yeah, you should have ran it by me. I would have been like, Dia, that's gold. You know, everybody has their opinion of what's funny and what's not. That's why, like, you really, when you think about it, the more people you run your joke by, the smarter it gets, because it picks up bits of collective intelligence. And if you can make it work for all of them, then it's the smartest version of that joke, right?
Yeah.
Or funniest, or smartest, or both.
Right. Or sometimes it's like a lint roller. You're just picking up a bunch of crap from everywhere.
Yep.
And at the end, you're like, I got to throw this in the trash. So be careful who you workshop your jokes with.
That does tend to happen. That doesn't. Now, I have a question. Can a smart joke be dumb?
Of course. Of course. Some of the best smart jokes I came up with is because I have huge gaps in my intelligence. I don't understand certain things. I'm dumb. Like I didn't like so this was a few years ago. Someone was talking about BDE and I was like, what the hell is BDE? What does this mean? Like I was very curious about it. And then I did a Google search because I'm a nerd. And the first thing that comes up is Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. I'm like, why is he the epitome of BDE? And so from this place of ignorance, I started writing. By the way, you can't spell Sammy Obeid without BDE either. So, you know,
yes, I'll take that.
Yeah, write it down. So it came from a place of really being curious and not understanding and wanting to understand what this sociological phenomenon was, and it turned into a joke. I think I don't set out to be like, I want to write a smart joke because I want to show people how intelligent I am. I'm really genuinely curious about the world, and I'm curious about things that I don't quite understand. Or the other aspect of it is these are things that I love. I love math and science. I love talking about politics. It makes me happy to solve an equation. That's why, you know, very few people can, you know, tell me that those are boring things. For some people, it's sports, and I find that really boring. But for me, it comes from a place of love and curiosity. And that's how sometimes I'm really dumb and I figure out what this means to me in the world.
That so many points in there that I want to like talk about, because like you make the great point that intelligence is relative, because if you're, you know, I'm not smart about sports, so I'm dumb in sports, but you know, I have friends who can talk sports all day. They're intelligent in sports, and somebody could write an intelligent sports joke that I'm not capable of writing. But, you know, I can write a math joke, you know. By the way, my last name, Obeid, it actually it's an acronym for big energy internal deficit. So there's definitely many forms of intelligence, and really, yeah, there's no such thing as there's obviously stereotypical smart, like you're a nerd, you're book smart, whatever, but there's so many forms of intelligence. And so really writing smart comedy is just a joke that caters to that specific kind of intelligence, right?
It's just, you know, it's not sexy when people think they're smarter than you. It's not sexy.
Absolutely, absolutely, because that's talking down to people. Nobody wants to be talked down to. And that's why a smart joke can make people think and make people be like, oh, I thought about what you said. You know, and so I don't ever want to make people feel like they've come to a show and they leave feeling worse about themselves than when they came in. I mean, our audiences have gone through such difficulty. They've gotten a babysitter, they've paid for parking, maybe they're going through some loss in their family. So you don't want them to leave the show that day feeling terrible about themselves. You want to inspire them to make them feel good. And so that's exactly the role that smart comedy can play is to enlighten, to engage, rather than to put down or to pass someone aside.
Unless they're a heckler, then you want them to leaving feel really icky. Definitely ruin the heckler's day. And yes, so that really does answer the question. Can a smart joke be dumb? Yes, because intelligence is relative. And also, I will say, I did a show once where I told all really smart jokes, and this guy came up and he was like, "Man, you stupid funny." So I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So smart jokes can be stupid. So Daya, like, let's say, new comedians out there. By the way, we're going to do Q&A at the end, and we're going to do the open mic, then we're going to do Q&A at the end. If you have any questions, think about what you'd like to ask Daya. But what advice would you give to aspiring writers or new writers, just in general, other than what you've already said?
Yeah, advice is really difficult because I've been given so much bad advice in my career, and I'm so glad I didn't take it. So I think that the only advice that I can give anyone who's interested in pursuing this artistic realm of being a writer or being a performer is find out what is essential to who you are as a human being and find a way to bring that energy and that perspective to the stage, because your perspective is unique. You are valuable. There's never going to be someone who's just like you. So some people call that finding your voice, but it's really finding that thing about yourself that's weird, that's exceptional, that's strange, that made you feel not cool in high school and that made you feel distant from other people. Use that and bring that to everything that you're doing. Because, once I started just owning who I was without any shame or any veneer of please like me, then my writing got better and better and better. And I started getting booked for lots of things. And I was in a writer's room during this pandemic, and Ronnie Chang from The Daily Show introduced me, and he was like, these comics are some of the best writers I know who aren't white. And so I think also, it's an advantage, for me to be able to write for, an Asian person that other people maybe don't have. So whatever makes you who you are, you have to find a way to share that with people, and just forget about the fact that some people may not like you for it, because you will eventually find those people who do like you for who you are.
That's so amazing. And that's like that sums up literally how I feel about my own personal evolution in comedy, and probably a lot of other people's too. Like, you learn how to become yourself. And in the beginning, you see glimpses of it. Like, there's a moment on stage where you tell a joke that you really liked, and the audience vibes well with it. It's not hacky or anything. And you're like, wow, that was a real reflection of me, and they like it. But then you go back to your shell and you start humping the stool again. But then at some point you get so comfortable, so you learn to become yourself, and you become yourself all day, from the taint of twilight to the nutsack of noon. So
yeah, I wanted to add one thing. Very early on, like, you may not get booked being yourself. You may not get opportunities. People will be like, oh, your jokes aren't landing, or you're not funny. But eventually you will meet the people that admire you, both in terms of audience and both in terms of other comics. For the last 5 years, I've worked with Greg Proops on New Year's Eve. And this year he reached out to me and he said, Daya, it wouldn't be the same without you to do a show on New Year's Eve. I really want you to be a part of the show. And Proops has a podcast called The Smartest Man in the World. So literally the smartest man in the world is asking me to perform with him. And it's such a great feeling. One time I walked into the green room and he was talking to his wife, Jennifer, and they were talking about a bit I had just done on stage, and Proops was falling out laughing. And it's such a good feeling when someone that you admire their comedy or you respect them is telling you that you're funny. It's like, oh my God, I'm pretty. Oh, yay. So it's, so you will find those people. But, before that, I worked with lots and lots of people who wouldn't talk to me, or who I felt marginalized, or they didn't want to interact with me in whatever way because they thought I was weird, or they thought I was, nerdy, or that I, my material wasn't the kind of material that they liked. But it takes time, but you have to persevere through that point where people don't like your writing or like your jokes. You will find those people who like you.
Amazing. So, you know, I know you probably don't want to toot your own horn, but I want to, you know, let everybody know that you work a lot. You've gotten a lot of great gigs and like different kinds of gigs that other comedians don't normally get for really smart organizations. You hooked me up with a science gig earlier this year, or last year, I mean. And like there's all sorts of things you do that I would have never even thought like comedians could like reach out to these people. And I know we don't want to like go through everything and list it. We don't want these comedians to get these gigs. But do tell us a little bit about like, were you aware that you were kind of like playing that game in the sense of that like you knew that you were going to attract these people by being yourself and being smart? Or did it just kind of like fall into place and you realize at some point like, wow, I'm doing all these non-traditional stand-up gigs?
I mean, the answer to that is that there's stand-up has changed so much that there's no such thing as a traditional like what we're doing right now is not a traditional stand-up gig. This is completely weird. and you created this platform, Sammy. Like this is something completely different. I built
Zoom. That's correct. I founded Zoom, yeah.
Yeah. And Al Gore helped you by founding the internet. So your teaming up has really created something great. There's no such thing as a traditional. I mean, there's alt comedy, there's club comedy, there's theater comedy, there's comedy on television, there's people who do private events, there's people who are sitcom writers, late night writers. There's really no standard way of being a comedian in the world. There's improv comedians, there's sketch comedians. So you are limiting your universe by saying comedy must occur in this one specific way, because you're putting those limitations on what the art form is yourself. And sure, there's people who tell you this is how it is, or this is what comedy is, or this is, I mean, I play clubs, I do theaters, I do private gigs. I try to do all of them because there's something, I'm a competitive person and I like challenge. I mean, not competitive with other people, but for myself, I like to constantly challenge. That's why I did the cruise. I wanted to see if I could somehow make those people laugh. So, you know, for me, it wasn't necessarily, I'm going to do something non-traditional. It was that I had spent so much of my high school trying to accommodate being a smart person and being a woman with opinions and being a woman who liked math, who liked science. And I was constantly trying to accommodate other people to make them feel better because I didn't want to be too much. I didn't want to be too much of a nerd or too smart. And that quickly changed because I was like, life is too short to hide who you are. And so I just kept doing me. And then people came to me and said, would you join this writer's room? Will you perform with me on New Year's? Can you help us with this? And I would just, say yes and take things on. And so it's really that I started to attract the people who saw in me what I saw in myself.
Amazing. And the point that I've told a lot of people like who are starting out, like say yes to everything. I mean, as long as you feel comfortable doing it and you think you'll grow from it in terms of gigs, if it's like doesn't pay much or it's like a crowd that you wouldn't really want to do normally, like just say yes to everything because you grow, you do all sorts of weird stuff and you end up getting comfortable in all sorts of non-traditional situations like this Zoom call. That's why you're killing it.
Sammy,
you're crushing it, Daya.
I told you about this before we got on Zoom, but one of the best gigs that I ever did was at San Quentin. It's a maximum security prison. It's a death penalty prison. I performed for all men. There was on the watchtower, there were men with guns pointed down at me, and I had to sign a release that said, if there's a prison riot, we can't come and save you. So I took that gig on as a challenge, and I didn't dumb down my jokes at all. And at the end, one of the prisoners said to me, do you write your own material? And another prisoner goes, of course she does. She's not Carlos Mencia. So these murderers even knew that Carlos Mencia was a joke thief. And so that's the level of intelligence these men on the inside had. So I had no reason to dumb down who I was because they were smart.
Wow, isn't that crazy? That just shows you how low on the totem pole stealing other people's jokes is. That even real thieves are like, fucking hack.
Yeah.
Amazing. What an awesome gig. I wish we had the tapes from that. But that just goes to show, if you're smart, you can play anywhere, because whether or not your comedy's considered smart comedy, it takes intelligence to be able to play to a variety of crowds. And that's why we're here on Zoom doing it. So thank you, Daya. I mean, anything else to add to that before we go into the next section?
I didn't even know there was a next section.
There's a next section, Daya. Part 2 of 3. The part that every comedian here has been waiting for, aside from these great tips we've been giving. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to do a raffle for the comedians. We've picked 5 comedians randomly from those who have signed up. You will do about 2 minutes. I guess we'll tell you, Sam, we do something if they go over, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I can chat them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you got 2 minutes. Do a bit, do whatever it takes, 2 minutes, and me and Daya are going to talk about it.
So Sammy, what are we supposed to do?
Constructive feedback, or like what we liked.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you want to do good cop, bad cop. Just kidding. We give them constructive feedback. All right. First comic coming to the stage. Everybody welcome Lindsay Loon.
Woo!
Got to
You're on mute.
Unmute.
There you go. We can
you
hear
guys hear me now?
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. I'm still Lindsay Loon. So it's crazy out there. I've told so many people to be safe. It sounds like I'm obsessed with getting people to wear condoms. Be safe, be safe. I'm like a crazed high school health teacher just running after the kids with condoms, like, here, take this one. It's flavored. It's not bad. Don't ask me how I know. So I'm Jewish and half hillbilly. I'm a Jew, Billy. My father's family is from the mountains of North Carolina, and my mother's is from 5,781 years of Jewish suffering. We've got Jewish accountants who will do your taxes and hillbillies who will do your taxidermy. I take my matzo balls bacon wrapped. And my grandmother's entire family was murdered in the Holocaust.
Oh.
Always a fun conversation starter. But I hate when people casually use Nazi as a descriptor, like, oh my God, I'm such a Nazi about cleaning the bathroom. Are you? When you clean the bathroom, do you steal human teeth? What's happening in there? Like, don't combine genocide and shower gel. I know I sound fussy, but when it comes to metaphors, I'm kind of a Nazi. That's it for me.
All right, Lindsay, great job. Everybody give it up for Lindsay. So many great angles in there. I like the be safe. Everybody's saying that now. The condoms is a great analogy. It's a great bit. People are always saying that. Even before the pandemic, people would say be safe, and it's like, do I look that wild to you? Like, never knew how to took that advice. But now people tell you to be safe. It's like, be safe just means like, don't like go and like give other people mouth to mouth. Don't go outside. But the Jewish hillbilly thing, that's a great angle. It's always fun to have a mix of two very different cultures. So you got a lot of great angles there. Really cool. And the Nazi bit. I think I do like to tell people if I've heard something like similar to that before. I think I've heard a similar angle on the Nazi thing, but the genocide and shower gel, that's funny. That's yours. That's all yours. So that's very good stuff. Di, you got anything to say?
I think Sammy said angle so much that now it's a full circle. Lindsay, what I really liked about what you did is you just got right into it because a friend of mine used to say that stand up is like being a trial attorney, that the audience makes up their mind about you very quickly. So you just got up there and you started with your first joke and then you continued and went and you didn't waste any time. And that takes a lot of confidence. And so I really appreciate, even though we can't really see all of it on Zoom, your stage presence and how you owned that these are my jokes and I'm telling them. That'll be a real asset for you.
Thank you. Although my first joke was like being muted. Sorry about that.
That's always a strong one.
And you know what? That happens at a club too. Sometimes your first joke, they're ordering drinks or they're talking to the table, you know, and they're not paying attention. And then you kind of have to, you know, get into it, and then they start paying attention. So that armor just feels like it's on you now if you've been doing it for a while.
So armor up, everybody, just like a flavored condom. Great, Lindsay. Great job. Loved it. Next comedian moving on. Our next comedian, everybody welcome, Jen Perez.
All right. Thank you so much. I was trying to figure out which two jokes. All right, here we go. I'm divorced. It's actually a bad story. My ex-husband looks like a cross between the Keebler elf and Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. Basically, I married a leprechaun for a green card, and he just took it and divorced me. Every time we had to go to the immigration office, I had to explain to the officer, say, hey, listen, the Lucky Charm next to me, he's the immigrant. I was born in Jersey. It's called reverse immigration. There was no pot of gold at the end of that marriage. My grandparents are Cuban, and I recently found out that the tooth fairy in Spanish is El Ratoncito Pérez, which translates to Perez the rat. That means I have the most basic last name. The tooth fairy has the same last name as me. And like, why does my culture have to be so serious with the tooth fairy? Like, why does it even have a last name? You know, what's interesting is on my 10th birthday, my great aunt, she gave me a gold bracelet with my own baby teeth as charms. That's when I found out that El Ratoncito Pérez does not exist. How does this happen to me? How does this happen to me? My uncle has 8 fingers and 2 girlfriends. He has to leave his fingers in Cuba. He's slow. We call him tortuga, it means turtle. My grandma still cuts the steak for him. How is he in a polyamorous relationship? He can't even spell polyamorous. How does he have 2 people and I have none? How? I'll end with this. My grandma always says this to me. She always used to say this to me in Spanish. Ojo, que Papa Dios te está mirando, which means watch out for that priest. I'm Jen Perez. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. So many angles in there. That story about your ex, I mean, that's such a great mine for material. I mean, the fact that he was Irish, you said, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the situation of for whatever reason if you come across ICE or whoever, like who are they going to think is the immigrant? Like that's a great setup for a bit right there, Yeah. And the fact so I mean I saw what you were doing, but I think you'll get it. Like it's going to take some like reworking, but it's such a strong joke. So keep going with that one. Okay. And definitely got to throw the pot of gold in there. Like So I divorced. I was married to a leprechaun. He married me for immigration at the bottom. What's the end of the rainbow? A green card. Something like that. Okay. Yeah. There's just you'll figure it out. But like I'm just saying, I really saw what you're doing there, and yeah, it's great. You gotta keep going with that one for sure. And I wasn't like sure if I believed. I didn't know if your uncle actually did. He's missing 2 fingers, and he has.
I have an uncle
two.
that's missing 2 fingers.
Oh.
Okay,
I'm
great.
not kidding.
Yeah, so I'm not. I said great. Yeah, great. That's such a great thing. No, but like I think maybe I know you only had 2 minutes, but like I didn't believe it at first. So because
Okay.
you said I have an uncle who has he's missing 2 fingers, but he has 2 girlfriends, and like that's funny, but I didn't. It just sounded like a joke. So like I would buy it more if you started with like hey, my uncle is missing 2 fingers, and we were all like quote, and then they make, and get this, he has 2 girlfriends. What?
Okay.
And then the whole thing about polyamory is so funny, and I was just thinking of a possible tag. It's like I wonder how many girlfriends he's gonna have. Well, I guess he can't go over 8. Something like that. But yeah,
Okay.
that was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think Sammy did the math wrong on that. If you have 8 fingers, I think you can have 4 girlfriends. But I think Jen, I like your use of you brought your bilingual aspect to it. I think that's really great. Like back in the day, George Lopez would do these gigs where he would just like speak Spanish, and it was it made the audience feel spoken to and really understood. So I like that you brought that in. I had a question about the Keebler elf. Did he bake you cookies, or was he just tiny?
No, it's like a Spanish reference. So like a Spanish kind of Puerto Rican Cuban reference. So every grandma, she keeps her rice in a tin of Keebler elf.
Oh, kind of like those cookies that you keep your sewing kit in?
It's crackers. It's literally saltine crackers. That's what's supposed to be in the tin, but it's a thing of rice.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that cultural reference.
Yeah. It's very specific. I know. And then I thought because he was an elf and it kind of looked like a leprechaun, I thought it'd be funny to add it. But I get it. Yeah.
No, I think all those work. I think those are all great descriptors instead of just saying he was a short Irish guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Awesome. Great job, Jen. Thank you one more time. Next comedian, coming to the stage, Chandru.
Oh, hi. What is up, everyone? Yeah. Sorry. Can you guys? Yeah. Sorry about that. I had people at my house. Still getting used to this whole thing about. I'm still getting used to this whole life about being in the pandemic. Like basically, I was on. I work in education. I was working on Zoom. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. But basically with basically what happens is, I feel that Zoom really highlights my basically my idiosyncrasies. It's sort of just my neuroticisms. I am the kind of person who will fixate on the most random things. Like I was trying, I was working with the student. I thought we were making some great progress. But then this guy decided to sit in the kitchen and the microwave was just flashing, like, please press start. And I was like, I can't start anything right now. I can't start teaching you until you just turn off this microphone. It just doesn't make, I just cannot focus on that. So I feel like, this whole, and that's one of the ways that my neuroticism has really been, I think, really been highlighted here. And another way I would say too, I think another way sort of that that the pandemic is really forcing the artists that you don't have to improvise anymore. Like I remember like before when I used to like just being outside, like I feel like you have to really improvise things. Like even just like walking down the street, like, how do you like move around people? Do you turn left or you turn right? Like I'm the kind of person who would try to move left or right, but then I would just sort of top of my body would move to the left, bottom half would move to the right, and I'd kind of look like that snake game that you play on Nokia phones. And since I don't go anywhere, I don't have to do that anymore. So that's one of the ways too. That's one of the things that I feel like we need more pandemics so you can just sort of reset and stop improvising things. And I wanted to say that because like I actually didn't realize that this is what that whole Google Doc was for. So I just put my name in because it's like, oh, maybe I'll get a free pair of sunglasses. Normally I'm much more hilarious in real life. and that's pretty much all I have. I hope this is okay.
Yeah, Chandru, good job.
Thank you.
You are quite a character. I like it. Definitely have a very charactery vibe, and you got us laughing. You were talking about your idiosyncrasies. We're like, yeah, we see that shit.
Thank you. I wish I
you
could
are
be normal
you.
to this. Like, yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, I like the Big Bang Theory, be a normal person, but no, I'm not a normal person.
No, this is Big Bang Theory, in my opinion, not funny. You are funny.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I like it. I like your whole thing, and yeah, I mean, you were just talking about what's going on. So you're a distance teacher?
Yes, we're fully virtual, which is great because I really don't like people seeing me, so it's really great.
That's funny right there. See, are you shoehorning jokes into this conversation, or are you just talking? See, that's really funny.
I'm trying to. It's just like how drug dealers, like or like I'm reading this book about sales, and they're like, you should always be selling. So I'm trying to sell something. If you want like jokes, come find me after hours.
So it's funny that a teacher is reading a book about how to be a drug dealer. Great.
Yeah, it's a really
great.
bad book, but yes, that is it's got every.
It's bad, but I recommend it to all my students. Great, that's awesome. No, super funny, man. I first time meeting you, and yeah, you're very, very, very funny. You have a
Thank you.
bright
It's the
future
second
in
time
comedy.
meeting you, by the way. First time you're meeting me.
Well, it's distance meeting is really, it goes one way sometimes. Sorry, where did we meet?
We met
Where
at
did we
the
meet?
we met at Rooster Teeth Feathers this
Okay.
in 2019. Yeah, but like
Okay,
then again,
I don't.
yeah,
That
that
year
was
doesn't exist to me anymore.
exactly like I mean, yeah, it was BC before Corona.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well. So I'm glad good to meet you again. Maybe we'll be at Roosters in a few months.
Yeah, hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Chandru, I don't know if I was laughing at your jokes or just laughing because you're so weird and it's awesome. You are 100% neuroses. I love that you're examining all your neuroses. You could be the Larry David of Sunnyvale or wherever you are. Where are you? San Jose, Sunnyvale?
Yeah, basically that area. I could be the Larry David of 408.
Okay, you work on that because I think the aspiration is that you uncover these neuroses about yourself that are so weird that you might be able to make some comedy out of it. So I appreciate that you're very much yourself.
Thank you.
All right. One more time for Chandra, everybody, and moving right along. Next comic, Vishal. Call.
Oh, hey, it's me. Hey, good to see you guys. Yeah, all right, I'll do a set. My name is Vishal, kind of Sundaram, long Indian last name. It's interesting, have a long last name. Yeah, thank you, like many of you, last year I went to a George Floyd protest, it was beautiful. Had a great time. But then they got to the part where they started chanting his name. And I was like, whoa, cool. They cannot do that for me, though. Nobody's rallying for Kalyana Sundaram. That's a terrible rally, right? They'd be like, say his name. No. Say his name. How? Very weird. Very bad. I love women. Shout out to women. I know it's a weird way to intro a joke, but I especially love like the cute voice that women use when you guys talk to dogs and stuff. You're like, oh, I think it makes everything better. I think women need to use that voice more in uncomfortable situations to make them better. Like in bed, I just want a chick to be like, aw, your little dick doesn't work. Does somebody have a little erectile dysfunction? Come here, boy. You get a little tweet. It's a Viagra. All right, there you go.
All right.
All right. I also noticed in bed, am I out of time?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought that was your class.
All right, that's my closer. All right, thanks, guys.
No.
I didn't want to cut you off. I didn't even know. Was that 2 minutes?
I don't know. I had a great time, though. Thanks.
Well, this is the first time someone with erectile dysfunction has finished so early. Vishal, you.
Yeah, Di, you want to go?
No, go ahead, Sammy. Sorry.
Yeah, Vishal. I met Vishal like 2 weeks ago. We did a show together.
Yeah.
Outdoors, and I told you afterwards. You had a great set. I want to say I like that joke about your name, and the protest, because you're like, yeah, there will never be a protest in Miami. That's so funny, man. Like that's such a creative idea that I never would have thought of. Yeah, man, you've been doing comedy for a little while now. You have great bits, great material, great stage presence. I noticed that when I was watching you. See, I'm biased because this is not my first time seeing you. I've seen you on stage in front of a real crowd. And
this is after I had the worst bomb of my life too.
You told me about that. I didn't catch that one. So obviously the higher powers didn't want me to see that.
Yeah.
So I saw I saw the best. I mean, it was a great set that I saw. And the joke about your name's great. I love jokes about names. Daya does stuff about hers. I do stuff about mine. Mine's a little shorter than both of y'all's, but you're mining for material in the right place. I have heard like that voice. I've heard like takes on that, but you have a funny punchlines for it. So it's good stuff. It's original.
Vishal, I've also seen you perform, so it's hard to kind of be objective. One of the things that I like about your performance is how approachable you are, how you're so open-hearted, and you really invite the audience into your personal life, whether it's dealing with difficulties dating or your family or whatnot. And I think that there's so much interesting stuff that maybe you've told me or I know about you that I would really urge you to look at, because there's more there, and I see it, and I want to know more, and I would encourage you to start exploring that, even if it feels difficult or scary.
Cool. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. And next time, bust out the guitar. Don't just tease us with it. I'm just kidding. You don't have to. That's not your thing. All right. Final comedian of the night, everybody. Sereni.
Woo!
Yeah. My girlfriend and we've been gaining a lot of weight during this pandemic. I feel like from the right angle, we just look like two pregnant women supporting each other. My girlfriend, she has beautiful hair past her butt, but it's really, she sheds like a husky going through chemo. Okay. There is hair everywhere. You drop your last nug on the floor and now you're smoking weed with hair in it, and it burns and it smells weird, So that's been frustrating. I feel like a 6 with a vaccine is like a lot hotter than a 9, like a solid 9. You know what I mean? Like you're a 5, like I'll take my chances, And I found out that people who are getting the vaccine are mostly people with pre-existing conditions and essential workers, you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm noticing I'm really attracted to a lot of asthmatic chefs. a lot of diabetic paramedics, Let's see. I'm not someone who's very in tune with my culture. I'm from Sri Lanka, and I have this crazy, irrational fear that I'm going to be wearing a sari, walking down the street, and some white woman's going to come up to me and be like, "You're appropriating that culture." And I'm going to be like, honestly, yeah, you're right. This does feel like a costume, I thought that one would get something. Now I'm trying to figure that one out, I feel like when I wear my culture, it is as a costume. But I don't believe in God, but sometimes I do when I get a pimple in between my eyebrows and it looks like a bindi. It's just like, oh, you don't know your culture? Like, I'll learn it for you, okay? I think last thing I'll say is, you ever think about how you were probably conceived without your mom coming? You think about that? You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, I seen my dad build a table. He's not that good with his hands. Maybe I'll outsource this to somebody on TaskRabbit, Okay, that's all I got. Thank you so much.
All right, Sereni, everybody. Such good stuff. I'm always a fan. I've watched you over the years too, and like you're so good with language, asthmatic chefs, diabetic paramedics, husky and chemo. Those are great tidbits of language right there. I love it. I was thinking for your vaccine joke, which is amazing. It's great. You're a Pfizer 5.
Ooh, that's good. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work for any of the other ones. Or a Moderna. There's no M or J and J letters, but yeah, Pfizer 5 I think is something.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that vaccine's great. So good.
Thank you.
Daya?
Yeah, Serenity, I like how you, again, you just got right into it. Like you didn't have a lot of preface. Like you didn't have to be like, I'm queer, I'm a lesbian, I have a girlfriend. You just got right into it, and then the audience has to do the work to be like, this person defies my expectation of what a queer brown woman looks like. So I like that a lot. It was I was thinking about the pimple, like maybe when you want to flex that you are cultural, you'll just like eat a bunch of pizza or like not do your face exfoliation that day or something, so you can have bindis. But I like the I mean, I don't think maybe you could call, like a Pfizer 5 or a Moderna 9 or something. You don't, you can play with that a little bit. Yeah. But I want to know more about that, because that's a really good take on it, because the hot people in our society now are going to be old people and pre-existing condition people and essential workers. So because they can go out and shop and they can be parts of things. So I want to know more about your attraction to these like ambulance people or whatever. Like, would you leave your girlfriend for them? Or I think that's kind of interesting. And what was the joke about your girlfriend's hair? It's long, but
oh yeah, that she has beautiful hair, but she sheds like a husky going through chemo. Because I thought, like huskies, they already shed a lot on their own, and then a husky going through chemo, that's just hair all over like like they just look like a Siamese cat.
Yeah.
Could you say that she has a lot of hair instead of hair down to her? Because one is length and one is amount. And so husky makes me think of amount, but length makes me think of a different kind of joke.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
You're so funny, Serenity.
You're very
I'm so glad that we had so many brown people and so many women going up.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the husky and chemo, it was great. I liked it. I was like, in my head, I was thinking, would that even work even better as like a 3, like a husky in the spring and chemo? But I don't know if that's gonna kill it,
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking like maybe it might be better to be like she sheds like a husky, and give it a second, and then be like a husky going through chemo. Like, let me really bring it home.
Yeah, I love that. So good. One more time for Serenity, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're gonna do a short Q&A. If anybody has any questions for Daya, let us know. You can either say them out loud, you can put them in the chat. We'll take a few questions and then we'll call it quits. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
We're taking questions. Yeah.
Can we just jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. When it comes to creativity and sort of generating new ideas, playing with new jokes, in addition to just looking, from your life, do you guys have any games that you play or any sort of prompts that you use? Like, I've done thought bubbles, but I'm looking for more.
In terms of kind of like a visual structure of how to map out jokes,
just to get the juices flowing when you're trying to break yourself out of your rhythm of just like writing and rewriting the same stuff, like when you want to generate content. Or do you have any sort of creative games that you play? Or
maybe this sounds too Larry David, but I try to put myself in strange situations so I can I can reflect on. I mean, not dangerous or anything like that, but I accidentally had 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies delivered to my dentist's office while I was having a teeth cleaning. And and I was like, oh, this is funny. I don't know how this happened, but it just happened that day. And they got mad at me. They gave me like a talking to. They were like, oh, do you consume this much sugar? And then I made up a story. I was like, no, I give the boxes away. And I was scared that they were going to like send like a dental social worker after me to monitor my dietary habits. So that actually happened. So I try to kind of live a life in which I'm putting myself in different situations and talking to different people or having odd experiences. So, and that informs because if I just sit down and try to mind my life, it feels very stale to me. So I'm kind of a more kinesthetic learner. I like to go out and do things and have things happen to me.
Kinesthetic, everybody, look it up if you don't know what it means. Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. Any more questions?
There was one question, Sammy, in the chat. Maybe you want to, because you created this thing. There are 2 questions. Nick said, so what is smart comedy versus regular comedy? Is it just book smart stuff? And then Vishal asked, how do y'all feel about taking breaks in comedy for longer than a day? So those were in the chat previously, if you want to answer.
Yeah. I feel like we discussed the like what is smart comedy, like there's different kinds of intelligence, and smart comedy is just a kind of comedy that plays to that specific kind of intelligence. But obviously a lot of people are going to consider smart comedy more of the book smart comedy, which is why people think that I'm a smart comic because it's all book shit. That said, about the breaks, that's a great question. I once did a comedy 1,000 days in a row, and I took a 10-day break. And it felt amazing. And the last 300, it was really the last 100 days, but the last 200 to 300 days, I was hitting a wall. I couldn't really write material in the last 200 days of my 1,000 days because I was so stuck in this like tunnel vision of just get up, perform, get up, perform, get up, perform, that I couldn't, like Di was saying earlier, I couldn't live a life. So when I took that 10 days off, I came back to life and instantly just started writing again. So, so breaks are very important. Very, very important. So in terms of how often you need to take them, that's up to you. But, you know, some people, I know comedians who can, you know, be off stage for 2 weeks and then get on stage and just be hilarious. And then there's comedians like me who, if I don't get up like on a regular basis, I fumble my words. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I need to get up somewhat regularly just to have my voice warmed up. But some people might not need that. So you kind of got to figure out what camp you're in. But either way, if you're in your early stages of comedy, you should try to get on stage as much as possible, because that's really where you're gonna get the reps in. But really, really relax into those breaks and just take them for what they're worth. They're very valuable. Those breaks are very important for you to live life. And just because you're taking a break from being on stage doesn't mean you're taking a break from everything else. Like Dia said earlier, you're writing all the time, you know, and life is where where you can do some of the greatest writing you'll ever do. So take those breaks. Sorry, I was swatting at like a fly or something. Take those breaks. Take those breaks, everybody.
I thought that was like you being like the coach. You're like, take those breaks, kid.
Get out there and take those breaks.
There's a question: how do you write for specific corporate or science gigs? And someone else said, as a follow-up, is that a thing you tend to pick up on in the moment or adjust to, like the cruise ship thing?
Yeah, Dia, what do you want to say about those?
So someone said smart crowd work, and how do you approach it? And then, so smart crowd work, how do you write for corporate gigs? And then, Michael, I don't quite understand the question. I'm on this cruise ship gig. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So maybe you could clarify that. So in terms of writing for corporate, Early on, I felt like nobody understood me because I was writing distinctly different sets. Like I'd write a set for the South Asian population. South Asians are the wealthiest demo in America, surpassing, Jewish people. So they have money, but their idea of humor is a little bit different than what would be at a club on a Friday night. So I was writing for corporate. I was writing for these Indian gigs. I was writing for open mics. I was writing things that I thought was exciting. And it's difficult because you, at any given time, you have multiple different sets. And that's why it's such a mythology and such a fallacy when someone like Jerry Seinfeld says funny is funny, because maybe Jerry Seinfeld can perform, in the places he's performing. But if he's at Showtime at the Apollo or Def Jam, he's going to bomb. Whereas Chris Rock can perform in all those rooms that Jerry does, and he can do black rooms. So for people of color, for women, we have to do more. And that's unfair, but that's why I have the work ethic I do, is because I have to constantly come up with new things. So the way you specifically write for corporate, sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's nerdy, sometimes it's what do they do and make fun of what they do. Same thing with the cruise ship. Most of the time they want to know about their experience on the cruise or what they're seeing or at the buffet or their life. Everyone just wants to feel like you understand them and you're giving them what they want. I mean, it's just like a conversation or just like meeting someone at a dinner party.
Straight up.
I got a question. If I can jump in.
Yes.
How do you guys ever feel that paralysis when you're writing sometimes of like, I have to write a joke that like fits all these parameters. Like it has to be like smart, or it has to be dumb, or it has to be personal or universal, or it has to be all these things. Then you kind of just get that like paralysis that prevents you from actually writing anything because you're just searching for a bit that fits all these perfect criteria. How do you get over that?
My solution to that is smoke some weed. Then you'll be actually paralyzed, and suddenly your mind turns on. I mean, I'm joking, but at the same time, that's actually like it's an easy way out. If you smoke weed, it's an easy way out that I would take a lot. And like I actually I would smoke weed a lot until this is the first time I've been like sober for like 3 months, and like since high school maybe. So I would actually use weed to write, but I think weed is not. It's not something that I'm saying like you should use weed to write, but like use something that weed did for me, which was weed would inspire me, because I started smoking weed when I was 13 years old. So it would always kind of like inspire this like different mindset in me. It was like I have a different personality when I'm on weed, but like weed, it can be something else for you. It can be like, having a cup of coffee, or it can be like going on a jog, then coming back with those endorphins. Do something to mix it up. When you try to sit there and write, you will feel, not will, but you often might feel that writer paralysis. When you try to force yourself, go out and do something. One of the things that I love to do, or at least I used to love to do, I would get high and I would go for walks, and I would bring a little pad and pen with me. And it allowed me to break out of the work mindset and just be like, I'm having fun. I can spread my wings here and just think of whatever I want. And then writing becomes fun. It doesn't become something you're forcing yourself to do. So, I know, like you said, it sounds like you're trying to like fulfill all these checklists. Get out of that box and get in the mindset where you're inspired to just think like yourself, and then write those things down and find out what's funny, because you may think of something and it's not funny, and you got to find out. And then once you do that more and you get more in the mind's eye, you have in your mind's eye like what a crowd is, then like your thoughts with higher frequency become funnier. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Michael, thanks for clarifying. Michael asks, do you feel that crowds that reject smart comedy are rejecting due to temporary circumstances like being drunk or sunburnt or whatever? I just think that there's people who like different things, just like any other art, just like food. And if they don't like what you have to offer, that's fine. You try to do something else. But what I find is sometimes you have no control. Maybe something happened where the room is a little too hot, or maybe something is occurring where the service is a little slow and people are restless, or maybe the show started late and they're taking it out on you. Like there's no way to kind of control all of the variables that go into one single audience and how they're going to respond. So you are going to bomb. You're going to bomb even if you did the same joke in front of a similar crowd at the same club, but then it just falls apart and you don't know why. I had an experience where Proops changed the date. And so, because he was going to be in Montreal or something. So he said, hey, Daya, can you do these additional dates at a different time? And he switched with a different headliner. So Friday late show, I had no idea what was happening because Proops' crowd is really smart. They understand my references. I just wasn't doing well. And I sort of, turned on the crowd. I made fun of them. I told them that they were stupid. I enjoyed it. And then afterwards, I apologized to Proops. I said, I'm so sorry. That was your crowd. I shouldn't have turned on them. I shouldn't have done that. And Proops goes, oh, I don't care. You're my friend. They're a bunch of idiots. And then he booked me again. So sometimes you're going to bomb and it's because the audience is just not the right fit. And then you'll figure it out the next time. But it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. People bomb all the time. It's not the end of the world.
I would like to differ that. It is the end of the world. If you bomb, that's the universe trying to tell you something. And every bomb is a chance for you to quit and do what the universe wants. So those of us who don't give up, we're going against the universe. And that's how you become a great comedian, because the universe is about sharing and love and everything. And being a comedian requires an ego that would go against the universe. So keep bombing, everybody. Keep bombing. All right. I think that's it. I think we got it in there. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And let's give one more hand for our guest, Daya Lakshmi Narayanan.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. And where can people find you, Daya?
DayaComedy.com. You can follow me on Twitter at DayaLive. Speaking of breaks, I'm going to take a break. My parents are both vaccinated. I haven't hugged and kissed them in over a year, so I'm going to see them soon. And I'm really happy about not doing comedy for a while I get to be with my parents.
This was your last gig?
For a while, until maybe April.
Hell yeah, everybody. Thanks. So thank you, Daya, for closing it out with us. And once again, thanks for joining, everybody. We'll be doing more podcasts like these. If you enjoyed it, let us know. We always love feedback, and we love to hear if you have any requests for topics for future episodes. So thank you one more time for coming. And,
thank you, Sammy, on Netflix. And thank you for being one of my first writing partners. I remember you fondly.
Drink to that, everybody. Take other people's ideas. They're worth their weight in gold. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Have a great night. To chat if you want. We can hang out for a few minutes. You know how it is. I believe in equal pay for men and women. That's why I became a comedian, to level the playing field. Could have been a mathematician or a scientist, obviously. We don't need another rich dude out there. We need more poor, insecure male comedians fighting the patriarchy. That's what I'm doing right here. This is art. But I told my girlfriend, I'm like, bro, women only make 79 cents for every dollar that men make. He was like, well, that sucks, but I don't want to give up my 41 cents. I was like, well, hold on a second. It's 21 cents. And it wouldn't even be 21 cents. It would be 10 and a half because we would meet halfway. He was like, I don't get it. I was like, we would split the difference. We'd give up 10 and a half and they would get 10 and a half. He's like, I don't understand. I was like, how are you making 21 more cents than a woman who can do math? This is the problem. We have guys at the top who can't do math. We need to swap them out with the women who can do math. That way at the top is only people who can do math. They can balance a equation and figure out what equality is. That is equal pay right there.